It's your boy Norn Rad 89 here, and we're not done with the Batman content. We are not. I told you, everybody knows Batman's my favorite comic hero and all that stuff. I just did my spoiler-free review for the Batman film. I caught that yesterday, so that is currently on the channel if you want to check that out. But for today, we're going to be talking about, of course, the Joel Schumacher era, because we didn't get onto that yet. Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. Those two movies, highly diversive movies, because these are kind of like, some people say, the death of comic book movies as we knew it at that time. So let's get into this video. And of course, this isn't going to be kind of like a review or anything like that. It's going to be more of a retrospective of what those movies mean to me and how I feel about them now, later in life and stuff, and how it kind of transitioned from when I was a kid to now. So the Joel Schumacher Batman era films are still also films that are very highly stylized. I think all these early four Batman films are very highly stylized, and it's style over substance, which sometimes works. Don't get me wrong, that can work sometimes, but it doesn't always work. And this is two examples of when it doesn't work. These films were more films that were kind of pushing the limit for, like, toys and stuff like that. Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, they were more focused on that kind of aspect. So it was all the kind of McDonald's toys and this and that and Robin and like the different suits and bringing in Batgirl and all that kind of stuff, and the Batman and Robin one. But there's still some good elements about these movies, and it's mainly kind of the villains like Two-Face, Riddler. I think even though Jim Carrey's Riddler is kind of bombastic and he's out there for sure, I think he still does a decent version of the Riddler. Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face, though, in Batman Forever, I always found him not as likable. He has some really cool moments in the movie, certain scenes, but I never gravitated towards him or liked him that much compared to Jim Carrey's Riddler. And they always kind of, that makeup that he had, the makeup effect they had going on, always kind of like bothered me a little bit, even when I was a kid. But yeah, when I watch these movies now, you can definitely tell they are focused more on, let's push the agenda and make money and toys and all this stuff. But as a kid, when you watch this stuff as a kid, it's like some amazing stuff. Like, I didn't hate Batman and Robin or Batman Forever. I didn't hate any of those films when I was a kid. Like, they're just films, like, when you're younger, they always gravitate towards, you're excited to see Batman do some new stuff. The fact that they have Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, Bane, and all this stuff, like these cool comic like villains come to life. You're just excited to see it. These films are very colorful, and I think Joel Schumacher does a decent job directing the films. Like, they have some decent direction, but it's just, you can tell there's a lot of fingers in the pie, like, you know what I mean? Other cooks in the kitchen, as you would say, too, with the, like, producers just saying, like, probably you have to do this, or have to include this, or have funny quips. Like, a lot of the stuff that's done in these movies is done for more comedy sake, or, something like that, or camp sake, campiness. And that's not really what Batman is. Like, at this time, even in comic era and animated movies, we were already in a darker era of Batman. We started getting, we're pretty soon, once the Dark Knight comes to that, when we get to that, we're getting even darker Batman games. So it's like, this was two movies that were kind of behind their time, I think. You know what I mean? I think they missed the mark. If these movies came out like maybe in the early 80s, to be honest, Batman Forever and Batman Robin, if these were like early 80s movies, they might be heralded as like classics, I think, just because they came out, they represented that time, that era, and like Batman was still in that, kind of silliness phase a little bit, you know what I mean? Even though the comics were getting more serious, I think it just, they missed the mark a little bit, and the timing and all that stuff. There's still some decent scores in these movies. Another thing I gotta mention too, I almost forgot about this, but Nicole Kidman, for some reason, she's like promiscuous and very horny in Batman Forever, which I thought was hilarious. She's like a therapist, and she's like the love interest of Val Kilmer's Batman. And man, she's always down to like get dirty and naughty. Like, it's hilarious. Like, just the lines that she has in that movie. And that's another thing too, is I think the dialogue doesn't really hit that well. When you're younger, you don't pay attention to stuff like that. You're more just like, let's get into the action. Do the costumes look cool? Was the Batmobile cool? You know what I mean? Which villains are in it this time? And you don't really pay attention to the dialogue. And then when you get older, it's more like, oh man, like this isn't that good. So, these are movies that I can definitely still watch. Like I said, I love the Batman franchise and all of these movies. I can still watch these films and have a good time with them. But I really have to like step aside and like kind of watch them from a distance. You know what I mean? I don't love them, adore them. I don't give like them my heart kind of thing. It's like I love them from a distance, and it's like, oh, okay, I understand what they are, and I don't expect them to be much more than that or anything. But thanks for sticking around with me all for this retrospective kind of chat with Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. Did you like these films? I want to hear from all of you in the comments section. Are these films that you god awful hate, or do you have some nostalgic love in these films when you see Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze and Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy and all this kind of stuff? Like Bane, I was a little upset about that. I actually have to mention real quick too. I was a little upset about the portrayal of Bane because Bane is one of my favorites, all-time favorite Batman villains, and the portrayal of him in Batman and Robin is just not that great. He's just kind of like this lackey henchman type dude. So, like I said though, let me know in the comments section what you all think are these movies, and thanks for sticking around, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing on the channel. Pretty soon we're going to be on to the Nolan era films, and then we're going to be on to the Batfleck era, Zack Snyder, all that drama and all the stuff that went down with that. So stay tuned to the channel. Have a safe and happy day, everyone. Peace out.